For joining in. Let's talk about IndiGo and where it's headed. Yesterday, the shares were under pressure after Pratt Whitney's parent RTX said that it will remove 600 to 700 engines annually that power their A320neo planes by early 2024. That said, DGCA sources have confirmed to CNBC TV18 that to tackle the supply chain issues, IndiGo has been allowed to take 11 Airbus A320 planes on a wet lease the aeroplane with the operating crew. Mark D. Martin, the founder and CEO of Martin Consulting, is now with us on the show. Martin, first your thoughts on the Pratt & Whitney engine issues. Is it much larger than what the street was anticipating? Because I believe now close to 3,000 engines will be recalled till calendar year 2026, much higher than what we were earlier anticipating. The turnaround time has also increased to 300 days versus 60 days earlier.
Morning. Thanks for having me on CNBC today. I think we need to be very clear that the Pratt & Whitney engine is not, issues with it is not new. IndiGo started to see air turnbacks, engine failures, high vibration, fan blade separation, catastrophic incidents with that engine 5 years ago. We have to be mindful that this is not new. It's been going on for 5 years. And as a result of what's been going on, IndiGo is being now aggressively pained by this. Now, to be fair, this Pratt & Whitney engine issue affects pretty much every Airbus A320 operator out there. So IndiGo is not alone. You've got Turkish Airlines, Lufthansa, Air Baltic. You have Hong Kong Express, of course, Go Air, an airline which is shut down because of Pratt & Whitney. Let's address the first issue here. This is not a supply chain issue. This is an issue with the engine breaking, and as a result of it breaking, you cannot supply a replacement engine. The point is engines are breaking, engines are falling apart, and we are seeing emergency landings. Now, thank your stars, we have not seen a crash as a result of Pratt & Whitney in India, either with IndiGo or with Go Air. But this is a serious issue. Now, RTX is recalling, say, 3,000 engines. I mean, isn't it too late? You should have done this 5 years ago when the world was screaming at RTX. But now what's happening is IndiGo is in the spotlight. They are in the spotlight because their revenue and their earnings are coming under severe pressure. And that's the reason why they're looking out for aircraft that they could fly on short-term wet lease. Now, let's be mindful here. These are aircraft on wet lease. They're not permanent. It's a temporary solution. It's like somebody having a heart attack, but instead of you doing a surgery, you're actually going to put a Band-Aid on that person. So it's not a major step to fix the problem. The problem is Pratt & Whitney. But IndiGo is a smart airline. IndiGo is going to be switching over to CFMI, LEAP, and other engines. So, you know, they are taking steps, but those steps are way too late. And what's going to happen is that investors are going to suffer in this because your earnings are going to be severely affected.
Yeah. No, that's very well put and summarized, Mark. Good morning. Good to have you with us here. So I have a research report here which says that 136 aircraft out of a total fleet of 316 for IndiGo are powered by this particular engine. But the new sort of incoming planes that they are getting, they are powered by some of the manufacturers that you mentioned, some of the new models that you mentioned. There's a turnaround time. I mean, so you ground the aircraft, you look at the issue, and then, as Rima said earlier, the turnaround was 60 days, but now it's gone up to about 300 days. I mean, what's the solution?
Hi, great to see you again. Thanks for having me. I think the bigger issue here, it's not just the 600 aircraft. I mean, okay, now we're talking about 125 aircraft in India. Globally, it's over 900 aircraft, okay? So 900 multiplied by 2 is 1,800. Now, some of these airlines come higher up in the pecking order, so they're going to get their engines faster than an IndiGo or a Go Air. You brought it up very nicely on this. The issue here is accountability. This is affecting India. It's now affecting our investors. It's now affecting earnings per share. It's affecting airline bottom lines. Now, and who suffers is the common traveler, you, me, and everybody connected with IndiGo. And this has to stop. Someone needs to take a call because right now we've got a Go Air on life support system. and we have an IndiGo, which is now, which is basically you're trotting its way to hospital because of this, and somebody needs to take a call, and that call has to be the government of India, because when India suffers, it's an India issue, and when it's an India issue, we need to take it up, because these aircraft, not only are the engine breaking, now Airbus are brilliant aircraft, and so are Boeing. Boeing has got separate problems, but the engine is causing you to not fly, and that's catastrophic for any airline balance sheet.
According to a UBS note, 40% of IndiGo's fleet and 100% of Go First fleet depend on these Pratt & Whitney GTF engines. So there is a deep impact running through India's aviation space right now. Martin, is there going to be some sort of a compensation which Pratt & Whitney is going to offer? Will there be some money coming into IndiGo aviation? Have you picked up anything on that? And what are the cost implications of this wet lease? Just trying to understand the bottom line impact for Interglobe Aviation, because crude prices too have been on the rise.
Very well summed up, and I'm glad you brought that data and stats. 40% of IndiGo's fleet is exposed on the Pratt & Whitney GTF. That means 40% less earnings in your P&L. 100% of Go Air's fleet is Pratt & Whitney GTF. That means 100% impact on your P&L. It's over for Go Air, and Go Air needs to come back. Now, this is not going to happen anytime soon. I know we all want this to ward off and fly over us, but it is going to be long impacting, because even if IndiGo and Go Air switch to CFMI leave, it's going to take them 6 to 12 months just for the compliance part. Going for wet lease, now we have to be clear that these are temporary contracts. The aircraft fly for 6 months, maybe at the most 9 months to 12 months. After that period, these aircraft have to go back because you're taking them on a temporary lease. So this buys some time for an IndiGo, but it's not the ultimate perfect solution. You still need to get back and fix the real issue here, and that is, catch hold of Pratt & Whitney, make them accountable, take them to court, get that compensation. If they're not going to give you compensation, ask Pratt & Whitney to pay for another engine or buy you another engine and install it, because you're suffering because of their product. Their engine has catastrophic issues. An engine that breaks, imagine an engine which costs $25 million, metal cracks on a brand new engine. It's unheard of in aviation, right? Now it's pinching us, the investor. It's pinching the common man. And serious action and steps need to be taken, because, as I said, the government represents us as a democracy. It represents us as a market. The government now to take this up also in a very firm and a strong manner. I'm hoping that IndiGo's earnings does not get affected as to what you mentioned about the UBS earnings of 40%. But right now, we're treading on extreme thin ice, and it's a wait and watch period.
Mark, thanks very much for joining us. Pleasure speaking with you with a quick take this morning. So hopefully, before investors, the flyers, and it's just airlines are full up, and the sector is booming.
Crossed.
I hope things are okay. Absolutely.
Fingers
Thank
crossed.
you very much, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, let's just take a look at the 9-10 calls. I think we are, 6 minutes away from market open. The pre-open rates should come up on your screen for a quick bid. So exactly in line with what the GIFT Nifty was indicating, 60 points almost higher. So we're at about 20,130. Mitesh and Sudarshan are back with us. Mitesh, what do you have?
I'll go with the buy on State Bank. Keep a stop below 590, 615 thereabouts is the target area.
Sudarshan, what about you?
Consider a buy in Coforge with a stop under 53.50.
Okay, Coforge. Mitesh, by the way, did you have any PSU banks on your list earlier?
Yeah, we have had buys on Bank of Baroda and Punjab National Bank, though I like Canara Bank as well. But I think, on trading side, we have 2 calls open.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, good to have both of you here. Appreciate it very much. Let's bring in